Howdy folks. Today we have something a little different. This is going to be casting and analyzing two games for the XOOL tournament that is happening right now. So this is the first set of games that I've seen and is between Fagern, I think that's probably not how that's pronounced because that's a weird A, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it, as the Huns versus Dylbyl, which is also probably not how that's pronounced, as the Britons. Dylbyl at the time of this recording was around 1343, whereas Fagern did not have an actual rating for unranked or ranked or anything like that. So I'm just gonna roughly place them around 700-800 based on the playstyle I saw. So not the most optimum matchup, but that's okay. We're going to go through this and we're just going to kind of see. So first of all, we have Huns with their no house start. So they just go straight on the sheep. They also start with less wood, I believe. And you see we found our wood line here, berries, this is funny looking gold, and stone. These are not the most ideal positions, especially because this is a very large open space here, and this is your main gold. So you kind of hope there's one further back. Not the most optimal place for the lumber camp. It's not the biggest deal, and this definitely is not what cost them the game. But you can see this lumber camp is one space away from the trees. You want to get that smack up against the trees just because it's more optimal for carrying. See, we got some okay scouting. Let's see what we're missing. Both boars forward. Some deer. We've got 5 on sheep, which is a little, this seems a little quick to take boar. Normally that next villager would go to boar, but that's not the end of the world. We are doing boar on lumber, which is definitely unusual. That's not, I would expect Huns to be opening scouts, and that does not seem like a normal scout open. Oh no, we've got the sheep death. That's a bummer. Also, at this point, you need to drop off food from the boar because they're gathering a ton of food. They're going to gather up to, I believe it's 35. And you don't have food, and your town center is now idle, and your opponent is getting ahead of you. So they see their town center is idle, and research loom. So instead of that, just force it. This is why we take boars underneath the town center, so you can just click the town center, click the boar. It's a little bit of idle time on the villagers, but it's better than having the town center be idle. It looks like the same villager was sent to take the boar. This is also really early for the second boar. There's still over 100 food on the first one, but that's not the biggest deal. It's just something that could be improved maybe a little bit. Your opponent is now 4 villagers ahead of you, but you do have more going here. Not the most ideal start. Probably was looking over here at their scout. Not the biggest deal. Scout has found you, but you're not in terrible position. I wouldn't be sending villagers to the sheep though. I would still be sending them to the boar. And actually, at this point, yeah, because you want them on that hunt. Because I believe hunt collects faster than goats. I could be wrong. This is an early barracks, so this tells me we're looking to go for a drush, which means a lot of food, which means you definitely want to go to those berries. And probably have a couple more villagers. This is kind of weird though, because you're at the point now where you just wanted your berries, but you're about to run out of your boar, and you don't have a lot of sheep. So what are these villagers all going to do once this food runs out? Because realistically, you should be sending the next 4 or so to berries here to get that ratio up. But yeah, this looks like a build order that kind of went awry. And then we have a farm, which it's not the most ideal thing, especially because you only have 4 on wood. And that's really going to hamper your ability to build anything else. I would have said almost just leave these people on sheep and then go to berries after and kick off a couple to go to another wood camp. than go to a farm at this stage. Because, I mean, you can see you are getting food from the farm. It's fine, but that just took so much wood out. And this is about the time where you want to be clicking up. You can see it looks like the opponent's also going for a drush. But they are probably pretty close to be clicking up at this point. That would be a normal time. But you got your militia coming in. That's fine. You've got 2. Going to gold, which is probably a little premature. In order to get that 3rd militia, you do... this is why it's such a difficult build. You want to send 1 villager to gold to just get 10 gold, and then send them somewhere else. Meanwhile, this villager is going to have to build this whole camp, mine this gold, and you only have 2 militia, which is not good enough, and you can see enemy militia coming in here. That, you barely saw that. Oh, the scout. I think the scout goes down. Yep. Scout goes down. So you only have your scout to help you here. When you see an enemy scout coming in doing this and looking all sus like that, that should be your cue to just start quick walling immediately, because either the militia are there or they're real close. Okay, that was another problem. You've got several weak villagers here. This villager, 2 hits and they're dead. This is the villager you should have farming. Like, do they get that kill? No. Some nice walls there. But if this villager is here farming, they would be completely safe, out of harm's way. Meanwhile, you've got 3 full health villagers on your farms. Oh, this guy's gonna die too. Your own militia come back. Your own militia aren't gonna be much help here, honestly. I honestly might be better just to throw them into the enemy eco anyway and just give them something to think about. But that also means you have to pay more attention to it. Where is this guy going? We've got some quick walls here. These villagers are still in danger. This one's weak. And they're in feudal. Yeah, and you're not close to feudal, and you're making more... Don't do this. Your militia are not going to win this fight at this point, because they have the scout. And a feudal age scout at that, which is much more powerful. You need to be saving that food. Honestly, you have a ton of wood here. Just at this point, take... maybe 5 villagers here, just build farms. You're going to need that food. You can assume at this point your opponent, they're not actually... Oh, because you're not in feudal, that's why. I would say the villager count looks good, but the age count does not look as good, let's just say. In this particular case, it might not be the worst thing to just idle your TC. The problem with this is you have misallocation of your resources. You have 16 now, going to be 17 people on wood, and you have almost 1,000 wood. You need farms. You need 6 more farms right now. And yeah, you're going to take a bunch of people off wood, but you don't need wood. What are you doing with the wood? You need to be in feudal or getting close to there. And I think that should be your goal right now. You will fall behind with villagers, but you know, it seems like this player has understood that. That's okay. There are definitely some things that could have been improved. Now we've got archers here. The other thing too is you knew the archers were coming, which means that you probably should have walled a little bit more here. Maybe wall to here. The archers can't range this. You've got the wood. Now you see the farms coming in, and you can see you're almost up to feudal now. They're almost clicked up anyway. And you should click up now. This is literally the most important thing that you could possibly be doing right now. You know, walls, great, click up. Click up to feudal. Or build another villager if you're not going to click up to feudal, though I really think you should click up to feudal in this point. If you're behind an age for this long, and especially dark to feudal, you need to be clicking up. And at this point, I honestly legitimately don't know what you're looking at. You need to go up. You are 150 food over now, 160 food more. I mean, I know this is distracting, but the important thing is ignore this. They're not hurting you. They're shooting a mining camp. They're not going to kill the mining camp. They're archers. This wall is good. I would put one here too because you know the archers are here. You know more are probably coming, and you have idle villagers. So just drop some palisades here, maybe even along here to protect this. Force them to go into your TC because this is probably the next point they're going to get in, and they're going to get in here really easily because this is not a good wall. If there's other enemy archers, they're probably right here. And yeah, this is just a really greedy wall, and you can't do that with no military and enemy archers in your base. Here, you could have had this wall up already, and this would have protected too. And now you can see these archers are moving around here. They're and now we can see. Yeah, now are you going to build this wall again? Oh no. Okay, these villagers should survive. But now these archers know this is kind of open. They might even come around here a little bit, but they can just go straight through here and your wood line's completely exposed. I still don't fully know what they're doing. You're almost up. So now you gotta think, what is your plan when you get up? I honestly, at this point, I would go skirms. You have a lot of wood. I would just go one range skirms, maybe build 2 stables. 2 archer ranges is probably too many, because skirms produce more quickly than archers, and so you only need one range worth of archers, and you need, if you build more of these, you're going to end up with more skirmishers, and it'd be actually better to go for more scouts right now, because you can see a lot of archers here, and they're British archers, which means that skirmishers are going to be less effective with them as the game goes on. All these villagers are going to die right here. The tower was an okay idea, but your opponent just noticed this too quickly. You've lost how many? 2? 3? 4? Okay. No, just give up on the tower. These archers have already killed 4 villagers. Don't let them have more. 5. And the tower goes up. That was not worth it. There was 5 archers and they got 5 villager kills while stuff is happening over here. That is, yeah, abandon the tower at that point. Just abandon this whole area because they were already moving on. Just abandon the tower, move here, deal with it later, or even build it maybe here, or build a wall here. The skirmishers are good. Unupgraded skirms are going to be less effective. Your opponent does not have the armor upgrade, so that's good for you. But you do want to get upgrades on those skirmishers, because you can see they still can be taken down. This just takes a little bit longer. Yeah, especially these archers are doing 2 damage to them. But, okay, your opponent's taken off. At this point, you should assume that they are way ahead of villagers. And we can see that down here, that they're not building villagers, which is more concerning. Oh god, why are these villagers still here? More villagers go down. This villager's going to go down. Maybe? No. Okay. Yeah, you need to be building more villagers right now. You're way behind in villagers. You should know you're way behind villagers because they raided you, gotten some really good hits. You did not get anything on them. Your man-at-arms had to come back, and then they died. You should not be going out here because British do have cavalry. And 2 scouts will mop this up. This wall, I mean, it's going to be built. Still doesn't make any sense because they could easily just come around here. Unless you're planning to wall this entire corner of the map, in which case, don't do that right now. Right through here. This is the best place for a wall for you right now. I know your gold is here. I know your stone is here. But you don't need those right now. You've got this gold. I think you've got this stone here. What is happening here? Oh, yeah. And these skirmishers, again, have no upgrades. They have upgrades in. These skirmishers are going to die. They will get some value, but these are all going to die. If the cavalry had been there earlier, that was another thing. If the cavalry had been here earlier, they would have gotten more value. But as it was, they just had the death ball, and it's kind of a small death ball, but still a death ball, of archers, and they killed most of your skirms by the time the cavalry showed up. So if you'd gone in with the skirms and cavalry, I think you still would have lost, but you would have taken more out of them. Okay, now you know they're coming in. These villagers are still weak. This one's very weak. Oh my god. This gold is still weak. Your opponent's now Castle Age. That now should become your priority. You almost have enough gold. Just take these, drop off here, get these walls finished up so that they can't easily get in. Maybe even build some stone walls, because at this point you don't have enough stone for the town center anyway. And then you need to focus on getting up. You have 9 farms. You have 4 on gold. You should have 4 more farms. Well, you don't have much wood either. You just don't have a lot of villagers. The second lumber camp is good. Yeah, and these, don't send these out too far, because they're going to have crossbows. And skirmishers with no upgrades are going to die to crossbows, especially Britain crossbows, because they have the extra range. Yep. Scout goes down. See how quickly they're just one-shotting these skirmishers. And why? Because they're doing... No, not that skirm. Not only do they have their own skirmishers, their archers doing 7 damage. Your skirmishers have 3 pierce armor, which could be 4. But that means that they're taking 4 damage a shot, which means that this is enough to one-shot them. Again, ignore this. They're just going... They're hitting your mining camp. You need that food. You need that food to go up, because you need to match this. And, you know, honestly, that is probably the best bet here. It's true. Your start was kind of all over the place. I think the big thing is that you panicked when the first archers came in. It panicked a little bit when the first man-at-arms came in. They got a lot of value, not necessarily in kills, but they got a lot of value in the disruption they caused. And it does seem like you never really came back from that. Your own man-at-arms didn't do anything. And you spent a decent amount of food building them, and that did delay your feudal age. And that was, I think, the biggest problem here, is that delayed feudal age. Because if you got into feudal age at a better time, you would have had better counter units earlier for this. And then, you know, your opponent got to castle age and has twice the vills on you. You can come back from this, but it would be extremely difficult, and you would basically have to wait for your opponent to make a mistake. So anyway, yeah, the things I would say for that is I wouldn't open Man-at-Arms. It's a difficult build, and unless you're really practiced with it and getting it very clean, it's really hard to do. I could see it was not a very clean build. You were only able to make 2 not man-at-arms. Why do I keep saying man-at-arms? Militia. You're only able to make 2 militia, and it delayed your feudal age significantly. So if your enemy is drushing, that doesn't mean you have to drush too. You could just defend against that with quick walls, and then go up to feudal yourself, because if your enemy drushes and you don't, you're able to defend against it, which is difficult but doable. Then you actually have an eco advantage on them, because they got little value out of their drush. Then you're up to feudal probably actually before them. So yeah, that's what I would say. Stick to a less complicated build for now, because that one isn't necessarily working for you, and maybe just practice it a little bit more. The other thing is keep creating villagers. You were behind by 20 villagers, partially because you lost a bunch, but also partially because there were times, minutes even, where just no villagers were being created. And that can be a big issue. So let's see. I'm going to pause now and load up the other game. All right, so we are in the second game. This is only 2 games played here. This is a Fortress Regicide, which is really unusual. But Fortress Regicide, you start with 10 villagers and a king and a castle, which is pretty powerful. We have Bulgarians for Fagern. And we have Koreans for Dylbyl. And Dylbyl is researching loom first. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, the general strategy for walls like this is you want a fast castle. And that seems like kind of what is done, but maybe not. It was an interesting fast castle, so we'll see. Going to wood, going to berries. I have legitimately no idea what the actual meta is here for starting off, so you know, it looks fine. All your villagers are doing things and you're making villagers, so. Your opponent did start out with loom, so you are a villager up. You don't know that, of course, but it's always good to be ahead. So we've got, where are your villagers going? They're not going anywhere. Okay. It might be good. Do you not start with sheep on this map? I guess not. It might be good to go grab a boar and bring it in, because that's your feudal age right there, and most builds for fast castle rely on the boars coming in. But we've got a lot on wood, which I guess is because these farms are going to run out soon. That does kind of make sense. Okay, we see a boar being brought in. We see, oh, I don't think this villager is going to make it. Oh, okay, nice. This was not the most ideal lure, but you didn't lose any villagers, so that's totally fine. And you got 7 on the boar. Pretty good. Going to wood, yeah, keep producing villagers. You're still 1 up, which is good, because your opponent's been producing consistently, so have you. And that means that you're still a little bit ahead of them, because honestly, loom is not going to matter super a lot in this game until later, because these walls are very strong and powerful and tall. Okay, going to gold. This seems a little early to go for gold. Most fast castle builds have you going for gold with the last couple villagers, so like villager 21, 22, 23. This does seem a little early because you still don't have a lot of food. Now would also be a good time to get that second boar. I have a suspicion you don't know where it is, because, you know, it's hidden behind the wall, and that kind of sucks. But this is definitely, if you don't see your second boar, as soon as you take in the first one, you want to start looking for that. See, maybe is it here? Is it here in this area here? Is it here in this area here? Might even be here. Oh, and you're even deleting this. You will see it eventually, I think, but this is going to slow down your feudal age. And again, stop making villagers. And you have an idol. Your villagers, you need to be making more. If you're not going to feudal, there you go. If you're not going to feudal quickly, which, you know, if you're doing a regular fast castle, you're not ready for that yet. Not quite. You should be going and getting more villagers, because they are going to be very important, so you have the resources to go up to castle age. Go up to feudal with 22 vills, which is a little light. I usually go up to feudal with 24, 25, but that's actually that's a little too many, but 22 is a little light. Especially without that second boar, you're not going to have the food by the time you get up there. The idea, of course, is that once you get to feudal, you have the resources to quickly build a market blacksmith, build 2 more villagers, get loom, and then go up to castle immediately, which is, you know, very quick. You already have too much gold, and you're not going to, well, not too much, but enough for castle age, and you have a lot of wood. So I would actually send 2 of these to wood, just so that you keep that wood production up, and then build 2 more farms, because you are nowhere close. Okay, you see that second boar now. That's good. That will help you get to castle age, but this is coming in a little late, because you're going to be in feudal pretty quickly. Luring it to the mill, not a terrible idea. And it's down, okay. Alright. Got 2 more queued. Okay, so this is pretty normal. And as soon as this hits, even if you don't have the food, market blacksmith. Just build them. You know, take people off of gold because you got plenty of gold. Do not get the eco upgrades. Yeah, you see how much that just cost. You had 300-400 food. Once this came in, that was going to be 600. By the time this boar came in, these farmers would have gotten enough food for you to go castle. You just researched almost every eco upgrade, and now you have no food left. That is not a good thing to do when you go fast castle. You can see your opponent went up with 25, which is, yeah, that's what I would expect. Getting more farms is fine. You still need the market blacksmith, though, and you don't have a lot of people on wood. That is going to be a problem. See all that food coming in now. Now, feudal age. Your opponent. Oh, don't. No. This is no longer a fast castle at this point, because you're getting all the eco upgrades, and then you're going to boom, I guess. But you don't want to boom in feudal age because you only got that 1 town center. Don't get wheelbarrow, because that costs a lot of I mean, yes, you will get more food after you research wheelbarrow, but that's a ton of food right there, and you just ran out of boar. You're not getting to Castle Age anytime soon because you just don't have. I don't even think there's enough. Yeah, there's not even enough berries here. Okay, you see the need for that, the buildings. Oh, so at this point your scout should be moving other places around there. I like to shift click my scout at this point and just, you know, hit various places around the map just to find where the golds and relics are. I know some people don't like shift clicking their scout. It's fine until you get past a certain elo. Okay, blacksmith coming up. These farms are gonna expire soon. So that means you're not going to have the wood to get a market if you want to replenish them. This one's not actually being used though, so that's probably fine. Okay. You've got 100 left there. Yeah, you might actually... You're getting there, but you see now, you have almost 800 gold. You have almost enough gold to go to Imperial Age. You don't need that much gold. These villagers should be on farms right now. Especially as Bulgarians, if you're going for cavalry or infantry, you need more food, which means you need more people on food. Is this a market? No, this is, this doesn't make a lot of sense either. These villagers, your whole economy needs to be focused on going Castle Age now because this is a fast castle map. Or Early Rush, which is really hard to do in Feudal Age against stone walls. Going to stone means this villager is kind of not going to be that useful for a while. Not getting you food, not getting you wood. I would say wait till you've clicked up to castle and then send people to stone, and then maybe send 2 or 3. Okay, you've got a second blacksmith coming out. I'm guessing this is because you forgot you already did blacksmith. Okay, there you go. Now you got the market. Nice. And you know what? You're almost there. Now you see your opponent 12 minutes. 12 minutes, 30 seconds. That's because they went up with more villagers. So they went up with 25, which means they had more economy as they were going up, which was collecting food, that sort of thing. They didn't get any of the eco upgrades. In fact, your opponent got eco upgrades as they were going up, as they got the food for them. So they now have the same eco upgrades you do, but they're in Castle Age. I would have actually taken maybe a couple more villagers onto this just to push it up. And there you go. You're going up. Okay. Your opponent's now making war wagons, which, you know, Koreans, that's what they do. If they're not tower rushing, they're making war wagons. You don't know that. It might be good to kind of... It's hard with the walls, but you can still kind of suss out a couple buildings here. Your scout's a little low, but enough that you could get through. So, what's your plan? Your plan is archery ranges. So you're going skirmishers. Skirm Knight, probably not the worst idea against war wagons. The knights are quick. Skirmishers are deadly. Because war wagons are considered archers for whatever reason. Your eco is actually not doing that badly because you kept your town center from idling, and that was really good. So much gold. This is a lot of gold. Now, you might want that gold, but I would say take 3 of these, put them on farms, because you do not have enough food, and the war wagons are here. This calls for quick walls. Walls here, walls here. They're not going to be able to get through this castle. They can probably get through the walls eventually, but... Okay, we got a stable coming up. Still, there needs to be, right now, at this point, there needs to be more urgency around this, because they are going to get in, and you have nothing that stops this. This is a skirmisher, with upgrades. The upgrades are good. This wall will not complete. There's no way this wall goes up, because now you have war wagons in your base. And, you know, the castle, but you can see how tanky these damn things are. And they just do so stupid amounts of damage. Okay, now you're in castle. You got 6 war wagons in your base. What do you do? Honestly, at this point, I would say try to quick wall this. Try to keep their attention with these skirmishers, which are going to die, but you can see they're doing so little damage. Even skirmishers don't... Scout cavalry is not what you want here. Yeah, knights are good, but keep them garrisoned. So if you right-click... Well, for me, it's right-click. Right-click the stable, the knights will stay garrisoned in here, because this knight's going to come out and it's going to die. You need a ball of them. Yeah, you see there, the knight dies. The Siege Workshop was, it's okay. Siege against this is probably not going to make a lot of sense. You do have a lot of gold. At this point, the situation doesn't look good. These war wagons, this is the original war wagons. You know your opponent's booming behind this. You know your opponent's building military behind this. You haven't even killed one of these yet. One of them's close, but yeah, and the towers are doing just so little, and they're getting so much now. These need to garrison. These need to garrison. This knight is going to die. These skirmishers, oh, there we go. These skirmishers are going to get value, but you need more of them. You need to bundle 10 of these before you go out with them, and you do have resources. You have a market. You could buy resources as well. Honestly, what I would be saying at this point, fix this gate so more don't get in. Try to build this wall up here. Try to maybe build a couple other defenses, and just pull your villagers into places where they'll be safe, like up here, where the enemy is not. If he notices this, if your opponent notices this, this does not go up because it's not enough villagers. And those villagers, oh, they might survive. You see, they're going down. But now at this point, your opponent has 26 kills. A lot of those were villagers. And we're kind of in the same situation that we were in before. Your eco is misbalanced, except at this point it's gold instead of wood, which is honestly worse. And you have half the villagers your opponent does. And this is something that you can know. You don't know necessarily how many they have, but you know that they should have been building constantly. There's still a hole here, there's still a hole here, there's still a hole here. War wagons are going to get in through here again. They don't care about your castle. Your castle doesn't do anything to them. So you're going to get another 6 or 7 of these just kind of waltzing right in. This is going up though. This is good. At this point, I would say focus on closing up these walls. Now you go heavy on stone because you want another castle here. You want another castle here. You want castles here. Protecting all these entry points, protecting all this stuff. Castle here. I mean, it's kind of a little late for that, but now, how many is this? 10? Because you need to bottle them up in places where they need to be attacking a static defense while something shoots them. And that's the only way you're going to survive right now, because what you need to be doing is not going it on gold, because you already have 1100 gold and you're not spending it. You need to be going heavy on wood. This is good. The wood is good. Heavy on wood, heavy on food, and you need to be booming from these 2 town centers. As you can see, your opponent's doing. They have 58 villagers. You could be keeping pace with them right now. In fact, a 3rd town center wouldn't be the worst. The only problem you run into is that's a lot of stone. And your stone is here. So, yeah, I would say you need to have 5 people on the stone right now. This needs to be walled up. A couple other places need to be walled up. And you need nobody on gold. Nobody at all. You don't need gold right now. You need wood, you need food, you need stone for defenses. And you need to be making more villagers. And at this point, it's very likely that this game is kind of already over. Because now you see your opponents on 3 town centers. Their economy's untouched completely, and yours has been decimated. There's a hope. You could kind of hope that because they've been building a lot of war wagons, which are actually pretty expensive, that they aren't booming as heavily as you could be. So if you get on 3 town centers and you get a decent boom for about 5 minutes, which can be bought by building defensive structures, then you can probably get back in the game and get the economy to start building units. But right now, you don't have any food, which means even if you wanted to make a ton of skirmishers, you can't even do it because you don't have the food for it. There's not a lot else you can do in this situation, though. At this point, though, you could have bought stone for another castle. Just drop that here. This area is relatively safe because well, no, you might need to drop it here, but yeah. So around here, then their arrows can't set this gate on fire. Oh, Age of Empires. You can't stop this. This is 14 war wagons. Your military, where is your military? Here. You do not have enough of these. Even with full upgrades, which you don't have, this will not be enough skirmishers. And there's a castle. And that kind of makes sense. Now you're on stone. It's a little late. And still on gold. You notice how much gold you have here. what do you're not making anything that costs gold. Your villagers aren't cost gold. You have a knight. You're getting conics, I guess, but conics, you could make conics for days with this gold. This you need villagers on farms and villagers on wood. This is good. Where is this one going? This is just going to nowhere. Send this to wood. Send this to wood. Pull everyone off wood, make farms. Keep making villagers. You're going to be fine. Other thing with these houses, if you get housed in situations like this, that's an emergency. That's you pull all 4 of these villagers, rapidly build a house, and send them back to work while this guy builds his. You were idle for a while doing that, and that's really not good. Conics? I don't know if I would go for Conics, because you see, they don't have a lot of good Pierce armor. They do okay damage. They might actually have a bonus against War Wagons, I'm not sure, but Knights are going to be better for that, because maybe not with the attack, but with full upgrades, they'll take 4 damage off. The Skirmishers are good too, because the only thing you've seen is War Wagons, honestly. And you don't have enough non-Skirmishers to defend against whatever, I guess, Korean Knights, if they decide to come in. But your opponent is just going for War Wagons. Why are you going for Knights? They'll shred your Knights and you don't have enough of them. 30 Knights? Maybe. Maybe. But better 60 Skirmishers with full upgrades. And then get the Knights behind them. We're not making villagers at all. And this is kind of where the game ends, I'm guessing, because you're not making vills. I know you want to get the upgrades, and that's good. And I know I was saying, get the upgrades, get the upgrades. At this point, vills are going to be more helpful than upgrades. Because that's food. That's food that you need to be putting into villagers. That's 6, 7 villagers right there. You could have been at 50 villagers. Instead, you're at 43 and half your opponent, and your opponent's going to Imperial so they can tread this castle down. I'm surprised they didn't just take the War Wagons and shoot it down, honestly. Let's see, I'm just going to speed this up because I think this is kind of a foregone conclusion at this point. The Mangonel is not that helpful. They do have pretty high Pierce armor, but at this point, there's so many War Wagons that whatever they do is just going to be able to destroy anything. You need masses. Like this mass is a good start, but it's not going to be enough. You need 60 of these. You maybe even need 100 of these, and then you would be able to really push in here, because then they can't really engage with you. Okay, we're getting villagers again. That's good with it. This is kind of a weird place for this town center. You know the enemy's kind of up here. I could see maybe not wanting to put it here just in case, but this would be a good place for it. If War Wagons show up, you're going to lose villagers here anyway. So I don't know. I feel like building this here was just kind of odd. And you know, there's the king. And at this point, you can see it doesn't matter. Oh man, that king almost got taken out. It doesn't really matter how many skirms you have. Oh, the mangonels. Because just so many War Wagons. This castle will not go up. And here's the problem. You just selected your king. And that's the game. Okay, so issues with this game. Fast Castle was kind of more of a slow castle. I think if you'd gotten up at a good time, you would have been better prepared to deal with this. You did not have enough defenses. You had this castle here, that was good. I would have put it a little closer to the walls maybe, or walled to it. Another castle here, because you could see they got in that way. Maybe one here. You need to use all that stone as you were going to castle. Like, getting that first one was good. You needed to stay on that and build more, because you could see they were going heavily into War Wagons, which you didn't really have a mass that could kill. On the other hand, if you got into Castle Age a little earlier, then you might have had that mass. That might have been better. The other thing here is these have pretty decent Pierce armor. You can see here. This is 7 Pierce armor. Now, the Skirmishers do have a bonus, which does eliminate part of that, but not all of it. But you can see they also don't have very good melee armor. So honestly, what I would have gone with this, you are Bulgarians. I would have gone. You have so much gold. If you'd had way more on food, Scout Skirm is a possibility, but you needed way more, or not Scout Skirm, Night Skirm, but you need way more knights. You needed 20 knights. 20 knights against this in like 30. Well, maybe not this mass, but against those 10 that showed up in the earlier Castle Age, you have 10 knights, 10 skirms. That can take that out pretty easily, especially if you get all the upgrades on them. The problem you had is that when you did get knights, you had one or two, and then they just got destroyed immediately. Anything dies to this. Anything. Except for an equally powerful ball of something. And you let your opponent get here because they were behind walls, and you can see how much they've expanded. You got this, you got this, you got this forward weird house block here. Then this castle, and that's okay because they had these things patrolling the whole map, but you didn't have anything to take them out. The skirmishers are good, but you saw how quickly those melted, and you didn't have enough of them. Like 60, 70 skirms also would have melted. You would have killed more, and maybe you would have had enough to keep this alive. Probably not. So yeah, I think that is the biggest thing here is that the army composition was just not enough. You just didn't have enough of them. Like you could see, you took out maybe 2 war wagons here. Anyway, that's it for this series. It was kind of interesting to watch, but I did feel like there were a lot of things that could be worked on, and that's why I do these. So, as always, hope it was fun and entertaining and informative. Enjoy.